and we were just having a quick discussion about whether you actually kicked your vice president in the bollocks or not. And a load of my mates reckon you did, and a load of my mates reckon you didn't, and I've got 30 quid going on whether you kicked him in the bollocks or not. Can you just tell us all whether you did kick him in the bollocks?
I've done no such thing. Never done that to anybody in my life. Okay?
Oh, Jerry, I've just lost 30 quid, man. I can't believe that. Are you sure? Can you not remember it at all? Think back. Think back. It was 95.
Look. Stop being stupid.
Okay.
I would never do a thing like this to such an old man. I've never done this to a young man. Never touched. Please, let's stop this nonsense, okay?
Are we off? They had a consultation process where they got all the sort of like campaigning organisations, all the businesses, all the government departments involved in the ECGD and said, tell us what you think of how the future of the ECGD should look. Tell us whether there should be environmental guidelines, whether there should be human rights criteria, whatever. The report they've got on that process, you will not see for another 30 years, right? It's secret, it's restricted, you won't see it, but I did manage to get a little glimpse of it, and I'm quite pleased that I did. It's just I'm impatient, I'm sorry, I know it's rude. But there's some interesting stuff there. First of all the businesses, most of the businesses give you the usual business line, which is, oh, it's just a financial thing, there shouldn't be any human rights attachment to it at all. No, you should just give us the money and we'll go and sell to whoever we like. That's business. And they also come up with those classic, you know, well, if we didn't sell it, somebody else would. Which is a shit argument, because if it was a valid argument, people would use it in a court case, wouldn't they? It's like, well, I had to burgle the house because if I didn't do it... The interesting stuff is what the government departments are saying. The MOD, the Ministry of Defence, said this in the document, and this is the bit you're not allowed to see. There is nothing to be gained by, for example, imposing environmental or human rights criteria on the acceptability of business for ECGD cover, unless these are criteria applied in practice by all ECAs. They're saying, no, we can't have human rights or environmental concerns attached to the loans for the public taxpayers' money. Can't have it. And I'm like, hang on a sec. This is the MOD. They're not there to act as a fucking sales department for the arms industry. If they were, it's January. We should be driving down Whitehall, all across the MOD, big red and white signs, everything must go! Half price and the great MOD bonanza. Get a tank, get a Hawk jet thrown in, 3 grenades, rocket launchers, flamethrowers, everything must go. No credit now, pay us, well, don't even bother paying us later. But the most interesting stuff is the Foreign Office. Because the Foreign Office, remember Robin Cook saying that an ethical dimension is at the heart of the Labour government's foreign policy. At the heart of the policy. Right? This is what the Foreign Office actually mean. We support the notion that the core criteria should be financial because of the need to protect the taxpayer, but there is scope at the margin for introducing other considerations. At the margin. Robin Cook should be here. He should. Fucking evil little corporate knob-polishing, fucking hypocritical, lying, scum-sucking fuck should be here. It doesn't just stop with Robin. Oh no. We went to the Labour Party do where Tony and Gordon Brown slagged off Ken Livingstone. We got in, and a friend of ours asked a question. And what she said was, she said, why have you lifted the arms embargo on Indonesia? And Tony got up and took the question. And they just went, well, you know.
First of all, understand this, that the licences issued for the arms sale were in fact issued prior to us coming to power. However, you're quite right, we could have decided, or the European Union could have decided as a whole, that we were going to continue the arms embargo. We haven't, because we believe it would be destabilising to the democratically elected government in Indonesia. Now, well, you can disagree with that judgment or not, but that is the judgment that we have made, and it's a judgment I personally believe in very strongly.
Fuck you, you know. He didn't actually say that, you know, but in effect he did. In effect, I mean, he didn't actually get his cock out and piss on the front row, but in effect, he did. And what's interesting there is the fact that he thinks that you're gonna create stability in Indonesia, which has got Aceh province in civil war, where you can be shot for raising the national flag of independence in Irian Jaya, where they've got sectarian killings, where you've just had East Timor, and the way to make it stable is sell it more guns. We've got it all arse about tit with that decommissioning in Northern Ireland, haven't we? You want peace? We should be flogging them, the shit. Jerry Adams should be outside the MOD. I'll have 10 of those and 15 of those. David Trimble diving down the Falls Road with a big tank, couple of AK-4. I'm doing this for peace! And also he said, we took that decision. We took that decision. He means I. Tony Blair has got his fingerprints all over this stuff. Last week, Tony Blair was caught actually giving his personal approval of arms sales to Zimbabwe. As far as I'm concerned, Blair is an arms dealer. That's what it... In fact, I'd love to see him in one of those smoke-filled rooms. So, hey, Tony, what the fuck you got for us, huh? What you got, Tony? Come on, show your cojones. What the fuck you got, eh? Well, you know, we've got a bomb. It's a new bomb. It's a modern bomb. It's a bomb for the many, not for the few. But Blair's fingerprints are all over this stuff, right? And in fact, it's happening now on a project in Ilisu. Balfour Beatty are after 220 million cover on a project to build a dam in Ilisu, which is in Turkey. It's in a war zone where 3 million Kurds have already fled from that area. The dam will actually displace 15 to 20,000 Kurds, and the combined effect of the dam in conjunction with others will actually affect 50% of the downstream flow into Syria and Iraq, which don't get on at the best of times with Turkey, so it should be handbags at dawn, you know, tears before bedtime, and let's all drink our urine before the taps come back on. Right? They had 2 environmental reports published about it. One of them they actually made public. And this is some of the stuff. Can you give us me stick? Thank you very much. We had to make the screens twice as big this week because there's so much fucking criticism we couldn't fit it all on. In fact, we did think, why don't we just make all the good points that the reports covers in it and say, put all the positive bits on the screen. It covered that much. So this is what you can see, just not prepared in detailed plan, no information, unresolved in opinion, little consideration, assumptions invalid, more clarification, no such recommendations are included in the report, not defined in sufficient detail. We've got seemingly does not take account of, you've got has been neglected, problems here, we've got the majority of the stakeholders, i.e. people who live in the area, object to the dam. And this is, you do think, if this is the criticism that's coming out in the published report, what the fuck does the unpublished one say? And we saw Byers, Stephen Byers, in August, and we talked to him about this project, and he said to us, because he's in charge of it, it's DTI, and he said to us, he said, well, you know, I'll make an announcement about the decision in about 3 weeks, and I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Summer goes through, hear no word. Autumn comes upon us, the leaves are falling. Still no word from Stephen. The winter approaches and fast draws near, and we get a tip-off that Stephen's about to make an announcement because a mate of mine owns this huge, great paint warehouse. He phoned up and said, I've just had a big order for whitewash. Be on your guard. Lo and behold, on the 21st of December, the day that the Hamilton verdict is announced, the day that Gordon Brown announces some debt relief, just in the margins, where these considerations should be, Stephen Byers is minded to approve the project. And I thought, no, I'm not pleasantly surprised. And so we waited the other morning for Stephen Byers to have a word. And we thought, well, as he only seems to talk about Ilisu at Christmas time, we'll dress his house up to make it a little bit Christmassy in the hope that he'll talk about the dam.
It's Christmas time all over the world, and places near and far. And so, my friends, wherever you are, which means a very Merry Christmas to you.
It's Mark Thomas from Channel 4. How are you? Do you remember? You said you were going to have a chat. It was you announced about Ilisu at Christmas, and we thought if you could put some Christmas things, it might mind you and sort of help you, get you in the spirit to talk a bit more about Ilisu. It's just going to You remember you said to me that we might be pleasantly surprised. Shall I just hold the traffic for you? Well, we weren't, because you were minded to pass it through, and it's going to